Hello, everyone. It's Pam Esquire, also known as Your Law Intellect. You guys come on in. Come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome to everyone. Hey, CBBJ. Thank you so much for holding it down on the mod squad. Linda Gibbs, good to see you. LaFrance, Who Child, good to see you. Alice, always good to see you. Of course, Dev, always hold me down over here. Nesta G, good to see you. Annette. Well, Sheila, you guys are coming in, coming in, coming in. Make sure you guys hit the like and hit the subscribe. Welcome to all new subscribers. We love you over here. We just over here telling the news in a legal fashion. If you can please, 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 please hit the like when you come in. It's free. It's free. My mods beg every single video for you guys to hit the like, and it's free. We just trying to get in the algorithm so other people can enjoy the content, as I hope that you guys are enjoying it as well. I won't be before you long because I have to be a legal analyst on the radio today. So I have to leave in a few. But I wanted to talk to you guys and do an update on Shanquella Robinson. I did a video, it's been a few months, and I want to make sure that this young lady's story does not get lost, because that happens a lot where we get all hype and excited about stuff and then we don't follow through. And, and then, she has family, she has people that love her. So just like we're on other people's neck, we're going to make sure that we keep this story alive. So let's get right to it. In one of the former videos where I talked about Shanquella Robinson, I also spoke about the process when it comes to extradition. And there was a guy that was coming from Mexico that went on a few platforms, had translators, and we were trying to decipher the legitimacy of the person because nothing seemed to happen. And then after that big blow up where some people believed him and some people didn't, we didn't hear much of anything else. So I was sitting there waiting to hear like what was going on and still didn't hear anything else. Well, a couple of weeks ago, Ben Crump, who is one of the attorneys for the family, and a slew of others went to Washington, D.C. in order to bring awareness. So it sounds like they hadn't heard much either. And so they went to Washington to try to get some attention to this case. So this is a video, and you can see where you can watch the whole video on that press conference that happened 2 weeks ago. Now, Ben Crump has also sent a letter to the president, and there's some interesting documents attached because there was some investigation that was done by Shanquella Robinson's family and team. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to play it on here because I don't want any copyright issues, but I am going to play some audio from the thank you so much for the Cash App, Larissa. I appreciate it. The audio from one of the attorneys. Her last name is Robinson as well, no relation. So we can kind of get an idea of what is going on in the Shanquella Robinson case. And then we will also go over documents. As you guys come in, please hit that like. This is a very important video. We have to make sure that we keep our name out here. I feel like that's the rent that we pay to be here on this earth. We need to help each other, and we need to help those that are having issues out here if we have the platform and we have the means to do it. So what I'm about to play is the attorney. This is her in the back that has the mask on. Hopefully no commercials come on because that would be ghetto, huh? But let's see.
My name is Akoshu Ali. I am the president of the NAACP Washington, D.C. branch, and I first want to extend our condolences to the family.
Wait a minute. This may not be her. Let me go back. I'm sorry. This is the attorney. That's not her in the back. That's the president of the NAACP. I'd have messed the people up. Sorry, sis. So this is the actual attorney.
And so that's why
Attorney Robinson deserves just so much credit for going to get the evidence that is necessary for us to now make the case for justice for Shanquella Robinson. Justice for Shanquella Robinson. Justice for Shanquella Robinson. Now you're going to hear from my partner, Attorney Sue Ann Robinson.
Yes, hashtag justice for Shanquella Robinson.
I'm so proud to work with her.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I want to first and publicly, which I do every day, thank Mrs. Robinson and, Quilla, for putting their shoulder to the plow to seek justice on behalf of Shanquella Robinson. I'm thanking them for doing something that so often only Black and brown families have to do. They have to grieve their loved one. They have to adjust to normalize their life with the loss of their loved one. And at the same time, they have to become part of a movement, part of a club that no one asked to be in. They have to beg for dignity and respect in death. They have to seek justice on behalf of their loved ones. They don't have the privacy to grieve and do those things in private. So I want to thank them publicly for turning their pain into purpose and for giving me the honor of assisting in their case. We've been doing this for a very long time. Black women have been having to come to the front lines against oppression because of our intersectionality. We're Black and we're females. And so based on that alone, we have a unique set of oppressions we have to deal with and fight against since Mamie Till. And I stand today on her shoulders, on the shoulders of all the Black women who have to grieve publicly in order to push the most important work of our time forward, which is that we would receive equal treatment. That we would also receive equal justice under the laws of the country that we're born in. Shanquella was a beautiful, adventurous entrepreneur. Unfortunately, I didn't have the opportunity to know her in life. But getting to know her in death has changed my life. And no one should have to suffer the indignities that she did. We deserve to live peaceful lives, enjoy vacations, and die old, peaceful deaths. Being on the ground in Mexico on a fact-finding mission was surreal. I'm an attorney. I went to law school. I know what the laws are. I'm a former prosecutor. I know what the Department of Justice can do if someone flees from justice. So for me, on behalf of this family, to have to physically go and seek justice on their behalf was unreal. In another country, with another language. Going to those places, going to the police station, going to the Attorney General's office, going to the Mexican Red Cross, going to the office of the doctor that attended to her, going to the actual villa and the places where she walked, where she spent her last moments, trying to find answers for this family was absolutely unreal. Nobody should have to do that for something that is equal and fair. They're not asking for anything special. They're not asking for anything unique. They're asking for their government to intervene in a case and take jurisdiction for a crime that we all saw unfold on video.
That's correct. My Lord.
The most important thing from the case going to Mexico, I learned two things. One, that Quilla and Mrs. Robinson are creating their own path to find justice in an international case, because there isn't a path to get information, to find out what's happening on your case, to find out what happened to your loved one. There is no such path. They are creating the path. And number two, most importantly, because they were being ping-ponged between the U.S. authorities and Mexican authorities. They got sick of it. No one was returning their phone calls. Mexican authorities confirmed that they have completed their investigation.
These are words to work by. Supplies, solutions, support. Call.
We've had the opportunity to review some of the packet, and it has been sent. The ball is clearly in the United States court. The State Department, the Department of Justice, the ball is in your court. That's right. Do what you have to do. In Mexico.
So essentially, this attorney went down to Mexico in order to get answers. After she was able to fact find, she was able to get documents. We have some of those documents that we're going to talk about in a minute. She was able to, they basically said in Mexico, we finished our investigation, it's closed out. So of course, either America has the choices, which would be in the letter that we see to President Biden. You either do the processes, because they do have due process, the individuals accused of this crime, to go have an extradition hearing and then potentially be extradited, or they have a joint agreement where actually the United States can prosecute if they wanted to as well. From the information we have right now, it appears that the person or persons accused of this crime that has to do with Shanquella, they're at home chilling. Like nothing has happened to them thus far. There is a warrant for their arrest, allegedly, I guess, in Mexico, according to the information that this attorney has. So now the only thing that they can really do is to try to beg, I guess, the United States to step up and to do something for something to be done. Because Mexico's like, our investigation is complete. Like, what else you want us to do? She ain't here with us. So let me see what else she has to say.
We went to the U.S. consulate, who is supposed to be the liaison and the protection for American citizens abroad. We got no such warm greeting. We got no such constitutional rights. We got no such assistance, liaison information. In fact, we were almost impeded and advised that if the family needed more information, they should talk to the 6 travel mates that went to Cabo with Shanquella.
Outrageous. Who was the accessories to the murder. Right. Outrageous.
The level of disrespect to Shanquella Robinson's.
It's not, I don't want to say it's closed, it's completed. So there's nothing else that they feel like they have enough information in Mexico. They issued a warrant on who they believe is the culprit, but obviously she's not there in Mexico. They're in the United States. So what exactly can they do if they don't have any extradition, or if they're not extradited back, or if the U.S. doesn't decide to take up the cause? Like, what else can Mexico do, I guess, is what they're saying.
Dignity, even in death, is unreal. We had to go ourselves to the Attorney General, explain to them, hey, we're not just trying to show up here. We tried to follow the protocol, but we're not going to leave without any information. And we were assisted by the Mexican authorities, who advised the ball is in your court. We've sent everything over to Interpol. We've sent everything over to the FBI. They advised that the case is a top priority for them. I haven't been advised of that by the State Department here at all. Have you guys been told that? Okay. The issue now is that there has to be a high level of diplomatic intervention. And I say high level to be tongue in cheek because, to be honest, the highest level is right here. That's why we're here. President Biden, the head of the Department of Justice, the State Department, you've all got calls from our office. And no answers. You've got letters. Let's do what's right by Shanquella Robinson, and let's always do what's right by Black women.
Yes.
I work every single day in what I call the most important work of our time, because I would like this job to become obsolete. I would like to have to stop coming before the press and begging for dignity and respect on behalf of my Black clients. Put us out of business, please. President Biden, Department of Justice, State Department, International Affairs, it's on y'all. That's right. And we're waiting right here until justice is served for this family. Thank you.
And you guys can head on over there to that YouTube channel if you want to hear the whole press conference where you had Tamika Mallory spoke, and then the lady with the NAACP. Of course, Crump started it out. But I wanted to share with you guys today some of the documents. So what we have right here is Ben Crump and Sue Ann Robinson. That's the lady that was the attorney that was just talking. They just sent a letter, as you see, March 13, 2023, to President Biden and also Blinken, who is Secretary of State. And what they say is on behalf, and it's a lot of redactions. And one of the reasons why we all pretty much know the names of the individuals and the young lady that was accused of harming her on video that we all saw. But a lot of the redactions, I have some redactions that I did because they have phone numbers on here. I was like, are they trying to get the whole world to call all these people? Like, they have phone numbers of all the 6 that was with them. They had their neck. So you'll see that I redacted it because they ain't trying to. I'm not gonna have them coming for me talking about I put their number and the video went viral, and because of me, people calling and texting their phones, even though they probably changed their numbers by now. But yeah, there were phone numbers and everything up on here for these people. So, but anyways, this letter though that went to Biden was already redacted when I had it. But the attached documents, like their sign-in sheet had their number. I have interview sheets from a couple of the people that worked there that gave their perspective of what they saw and what they remember when they were there. And there's also an autopsy that I have as well. So this is a letter to President Biden and Secretary Blinken. On behalf of the family of Shanquella Robinson, we write to request immediate diplomatic intervention from the United States government in this transnational criminal case. The case involves of Shanquella Robinson, a 25-year-old ambitious, bright entrepreneur and American citizen. Shanquella traveled to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico on October 28, 2022. Y'all, it is March, 15, 2023, and we have nothing for real, no type of justice. And was reported dead in a luxury villa in Cabo on October 29th, 2022. So she traveled on the 28th and was reported gone by the next day. That sounds really suspicious as what the intent was, in my opinion. Her 6 travel mates returned to the United States the next day. 3 of the 6 travel mates, and it has their names redacted, would transport Shanquella's luggage from Mexico to her mother's home in Charlotte, North Carolina. They would give their condolences and inform Mrs. Robinson that Shanquella passed away from alcohol poisoning. On November 16, 2022, one of the travel mates shared a video from a cell phone camera around the campus of Winston-Salem University, the college that Shanquella Robinson attended. The video shows Shanquella being beaten in the villa while naked by one of the 6 travel mates who was identified by a witness as an autopsy report prepared on October 30th, 2022 in Mexico by medical examiner Dr. Rene Adalberto Galvan Asaguero noted that Shanquella's body had a head injury and concluded that Shanquella's cause of death was a broken neck. After the video of the beating of Shanquella Robinson surfaced online, the Attorney General office in Baja California, SUR, initiated a criminal investigation. As a result of the investigation, a warrant was issued for, I think we know who that person is. That's the young lady that was on the video, by Mexican law enforcement. One of the 6 travel mates who fled to the United States after Shanquella was identified as the perpetrator of femicide against Shanquella Robinson, a homicide based on gender. If a United States citizen commits homicide in Mexico and returns back to the United States, as you are aware, they can face criminal charges in the United States under federal law or state law, depending on the circumstances of the crime. Federal charges are brought in cases where the crime involves interstate commerce or federal law enforcement agencies. We know in a transnational case where evidence was possibly transported and persons of interest communicated with each other via cell phone, federal charges could be brought against those responsible for Shanquella's death. Under federal law, the most likely charge that would be brought against someone primarily responsible would be a violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 1112, which covers manslaughter and involuntary manslaughter. If the individual's actions meet the requirements of under federal law, they could also be charged with the violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 1111. Federal charges that could be brought against co-conspirators, to a homicide include conspiracy to commit, aiding and abetting, accessory after the fact, and obstruction. Listen, they are really laying it out, like, just in case you guys don't want to do your research on what you can charge these people with, here are all the statutes and here are all the violations. As you are also, of course, aware, transnational criminal cases can be complex and challenging to resolve, especially when they involve individuals and entities in different countries. We understand each country has sovereignty over its own citizens and that each country has its own legal system, which can create issues. We also understand there is protocol for the resolution of transnational crimes. Despite reaching out to consular authorities who are tasked with being the family's guide and liaison in cases such as this, we have encountered numerous obstacles in our efforts to receive information for the family on whether those responsible would ever be brought to justice. While on a fact finding mission on behalf of the family, attorney Sue Ann Robinson was advised by a member of the U.S. Consular Corps in Mexico that if the family was seeking information about the case, perhaps the family should reach out to the at-large travel maids. So you basically told them, why don't you go talk to the people that was with your daughter? Like, what? Certainly, this is an unacceptable response to share with an American family in regards to their daughters. Given the nature and scope of this case, we believe that diplomatic intervention from the U.S. government could help facilitate the necessary cooperation and coordination between the involved parties to ensure that justice is served timely, that the accused are tried under the appropriate legal system, and extradition is possible, and that international cooperation is fostered. The United States can follow the extradition protocol and turn over the individual or individuals responsible for her death in Mexican authorities. Alternative U.S. federal law enforcement agencies can request concurrent jurisdiction with Mexican law enforcement agencies, which will permit the U.S. prosecutors to bring the case and the United States, as the involved parties are U.S. citizens. We talked about that when we first talked about Shanquella Robinson on what the options are. We have just witnessed what a swift concurrent response from Mexican and U.S. law enforcement agency looks like in the kidnapping case of a group of U.S. citizens and Matamoros, I don't know what to say, in Mexico. Both scenarios we are requesting on behalf of Shanquella Robinson family require a high level of swift diplomatic intervention. My clients recognize that the U.S. government has many priorities and responsibilities, but believe that intervening in this case will not only serve the interests of justice, but also send a clear message that transnational criminal activities will not be tolerated. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and we look forward to hearing from you. And there you have Ben Crump's signature and the other attorney as well. Yes, disrespectful. It's just, y'all, it's 225 of you guys. Please hit the like button. Please, please, please. We want to make sure that people are kept up to date on what is going on. Right now, the family and attorneys are pretty much begging for help for our government to do something as it pertains to this situation. Many of us watched the video. We all were disgusted by the video. And now we're all disgusted at the lack of response to find justice for this young lady and her family. This is crazy. So Jeff said the feds have already said it was going to be a while. It has been said the hotel has cartel associates. There was also a death the very next day of a woman. Oh wow. Sheesh, Jeff. Yes. This is very disturbing, and we as the people need to demand justice for this young lady. We need to apply pressure to our administration and see justice. Yes. So, in addition to this letter that Ben Crump sent, there were also interviews. See, this is the register when they signed in. They had their names, their cell phone numbers. I was like, I ain't putting that out there. So, but it's out there. So, this is a manager who did a statement, a police report statement. And so they have the interview transcript that I was able to get. So this person says, I'm the administrator of the Villa Casa Linda number 32, Colonia La Playa Residencial Puerto Los Cabos. Oh Lord, all of that. Y'all see all that? That's a lot of names. Where I have worked for more than a year and a half. Once I observed on my cell phone the video circulating in social networks where two of the guests who have registered in the villa appear, where one of them dressed in pajamas with shorts and blouse, possible color pink, white with black, and a light colored cap, appears hitting another female person who was naked. The one who is hitting the other is the person named, that's the one that was hitting Shanquella, whom I identified because I served as a translator on the day of the events when the authorities were in the village conducting the proceedings. In the video, it can be seen that the headboard is illuminated by the sun's rays, and due to the location of the sun's rays, I can deduce that it was between 7 and 8:30 a.m. Since the bedroom 1 and 3 are waterfront, and it is easy to deduce the morning schedule since the sun rises on the seaside, illuminating those rooms. That's interesting, because if it was that early in the morning, you trying to say she was drunk. This is crazy. It's like making me mad the more that I read. That is the room number 3, because that is the only one that has a hammock outside of it, and the hammock can be seen in the video. Also, after 10 a.m., the sun's rays begin to reflect towards the floor of the bedroom. Since there are some pergolas on the outside of the room, I can also say that in that villa, both at sunrise and sunset are very annoying. For that reason, the owner decided to place wood on the windows to prevent the sun's ray from entering. I know this because I'm the administrator of the villa, and on many occasions, I have been in the rooms at that time of the morning. Finally, I wish to state the villa was reserved from October 28th to the 31st. That is all I wish to state. So essentially, the villa, they reserved it from the 28th to the 31st, but they left obviously on the 29th when all this stuff happened with Shanquella. They bounced. So this one is a longer one. It's the actual concierge. So the person that was in the video doing harm to Shanquella is the person that was the main person. So she rented all of this, and then the friends kind of came along with her. So she says she's the concierge. This is my statement given to investigation agents in reference to the facts that are being investigated today. After informing me the reason for my presence in the interview, I have been employed by blank or Cabo Villas in the United States, where I work as concierge and attention and customer service. I provide service assistance with doubts any service that is needed for approximately 3.5 years. On October 28, 2022, I had been informed of the arrival of some guests to the Villa Casa Linda 32, which is located in Padre Quino, Puerto, all of that. Y'all see all that stuff. The day before I was sent the work schedule of the villas that we are to take care of as concierges, so I knew that the guests of the Casa Linda Villa would arrive around 3 p.m. on October 28th of 2022. The main client that's the person that was hitting her, Miss Jackson. We'll call her Miss Jackson because that's her last name, allegedly. And then it has the phone number, as y'all see. I was like, listen here, we not about that. Talking about blowing up somebody's phone, who contacted me around noon by text messages to report that her flight had been delayed due to the weather and that she would be telling me her new arrival time, confirming me that it would be 17:19 p.m. Then she asked me if after arriving and taking the transportation, she could stop to do some shopping, to which I respond that there's no problem. Then she told me that she would be letting me know the time they're going to arrive. She texted me when they left the shopping center. She arrived at Casa Linda Villa around 20 hours. I had arrived at the villa about 15 minutes before, and upon entering, I see a person of slim build, Afro American, about 1.75 m tall, about 25 to 30 years old, to whom I introduced myself. Since he asked me who I was, I told him that I am the concierge and that I will be supporting his vacation and everything he needs. Also at the villa were the chef, the waiter, who are employees of the company, and coworkers. Moments before, when I saw the guests, I was surprised since I wasn't aware that there were guests already at the villa, to which the chef told me that two people, a couple, had arrived at the villa a few hours before. However, I only saw the male guest described above. I prepared my registration sheets, the information I have to provide to the client: guacamole, tortillas, chips, margaritas. Then I waited for the main client, who arrived almost immediately in Trascabo's transport. They got off with their groceries, bottles of alcohol, and tequila, put down their suitcases, start taking pictures of the villa. They looked excited. In total, 5 people arrived: 3 women, 2 of the African Americans, and 1 between African American and mixed Latino. Of them, the main one named Miss Jackson, who is of sturdy built, tall, dark skin with a thick voice. She was accompanied by 2 male guests of African American descent, both of slim built. One of them had dreadlocks. I introduced myself to the main guest, Miss Jackson, as her concierge, and welcomed her. I asked her if she would like to see the villa and showed her to her rooms, along with some of her guests or friends, to decide who would stay in the rooms. We returned to the dining area to sign the documents, which consist of guest registration, insurance included in the villa and residential complex rules, and provide a copy of each one of them, registering the following. So as you see, it's 7 different names, including Shanquella Robinson, that was registered. Investigation agent Suni Joshua, that has a long name, Papoka Milan, in this act. The main guest stayed in the master bedroom. So the main guest is considered the one that was on the video, allegedly, which is located at the end of the living room. There are 2 rooms, and at the end of the kitchen is a TV or entertainment room, then an access with an open area which connects 3 or more rooms. The first room on the left is waterfront, and the other room on the right is also waterfront, and the third room is a double, not waterfront, being this at the end of the garage. I went to the room of the main client to mention to her that dinner was ready since 20 hours, and that if it needed to be extended, they would be charged an extra hour, which she did not agree to, and sent everyone to dinner. Since everyone was settling in her room, minutes later, they all sit at the table and begin to drink a lot. That is when I meet Miss Shanquella. So I want y'all to pay attention. Who was the last one to approach the table to celebrate, noticing in her a strange attitude. She seemed not to fit in with the others. When I introduced myself, she did not greet me or smile. She was indifferent, nothing to do with the atmosphere of celebration. She was out of place at this party. I made sure that they were seated, having dinner, sharing, and celebrating, and that they had the information for the internet, the audio, the operation of the house. Once everything was ready, I left. All the clients, the chef, they gave them the phone numbers, the waiter, they got the phone numbers, stayed in the place. The next day at 13:50 or 13:52 hours, I received a text message from the main guest asking me if I am available and which was the nearest medical service. I greeted her and asked her how I could support her and if she was looking for a hospital. She answered yes. Quote, I think my friend has alcohol poisoning and needs emergency service and someone to speak or translate in Spanish for us, end quote. I offered to send her a doctor so he could determine if it was necessary to go to the hospital, and I told her that doctor speaks English. She answers, quote, yes, please, end quote. I tell her that it costs $100 for the visit plus the medicine. I ask her if she agrees, and she answers, quote, yes, as soon as possible, end quote. I tell her that I will make the call to request the service, to which she answers, quote, yes, please. Around 2 p.m. on October 29th, 2022, I called the doctor, who is our contact for medical attention of our guest, and whose phone number is, they got the phone number, and in about 4 minutes, texting me, asking me what I had been told, and I answer her that a doctor is going to contact her to check her friend, and she replies, okay. Attached to this document is a screenshot of the conversation with Miss Jackson, and where she asked me for medical help. And the conversation is recorded on 3 letter-sized sheets of paper attached here too. At 16:25, she texted me and told me that the girl has to be hospitalized because after being evaluated, she has to be hospitalized, and that her friends were finding out if they had insurance. To which I asked if she is in serious condition, and the doctor said no, but that she does need an IV, but she is practically unconscious, and that was why she had to go to the hospital. So she practically unconscious, and you think she just need a shit? Okay. Later, the administrator got the phone number, called me to ask if I requested an ambulance for the villa. I told him no. He tells me that security of Puerto Los Cabos is asking him about the request and access of an ambulance to Casa Linda number 32. Later, Miss Jackson called me to tell me that the guest had died and asked me to go there as soon as possible, that he is already on his way to help in whatever he can. I went to Puerto Los Cabos from Cabo San Lucas after having spoken with. Upon arriving at the villa, I found a couple of municipal police officers talking to blank in the parking area of the house, and one of the guests, who was of African American descent, regular built, short hair, and coming and going from the house and calling by cell phone, a relative or a friend in the United States, using blank as a translator. I also saw the main client making contact with the male guest, and on several occasions entering and leaving the house. During this time, I am waiting for blank to tell me what to do, since he are my concierge team leader. So I enter the house, where I initially observed the guest relaxed, calm, sitting in the living room area near the bar and dinner table. How are y'all relaxed? And you got a person that is unalive right now, and y'all sitting there relaxed. My purpose was to look for the main guest and give her my condolences. When I talked to her, I gave her my condolences. She thanked me and told me that they had talked to her friend's mother and mentioned that this was so fast, quote, to lose her in an instant for having too much alcohol. Are you serious? So you guys called the mother and told, oh my God, we can't believe this happened so fast due to alcohol poisoning. You guys are just foul. I asked her if I could give her a hug, to which she said yes. And she gave me a very indifferent hug. It was very cold. I saw a very sad guest, a skinny girl, and I saw that she was in pain. I left that area and stayed outside the main entrance to give them space to mourn and grieve. Minutes later, I heard laughter. I approached blank, who told me to leave, to go back to my villas in Cabo San Lucas, that he will be in charge of following up and supporting the clients and the authorities. I said goodbye to the clients and I left Cabo San Lucas. Later, around 21 to 21:30 hours, the main guest contacted me to request transportation to go to dinner because they had not eaten anything all day due to the situation. I wouldn't even be able to eat if one of my friends was unalive. That these people are just different. I said goodbye to okay. Let me get back to my reading here. So I called blank with phone number blank, who owns Lands Ends Transfer, requesting transportation for the clients of Villa Linda 32 to San Jose to go to dinner because they had not eaten anything. The driver advised of his departure from Villa Linda 32 to San Jose del Cabo to find a restaurant for dinner. At the end of the service, the driver with phone number reported video audio message on the WhatsApp chat of the Lands End Transfer group that the service had ended and that he had left the guest at the airport hotel. The next day, Blank called me to tell me that the maid was reporting that there was no one in the villa, that if I had been notified that they were leaving, to which I replied that no, that the day before they had only requested transportation to the center. So later around 11 in the morning, I sent a message to Miss Jackson to offer my support. So basically, they didn't went to get dinner and then they just busted up, is what it sounds like. And went to the hotel, went and got them a room at the hotel airport so they can get on the next thing smoking. Y'all, I can't. Without getting a response until the next day, Monday, October 31st, 2022, when she texted me asking if she had to do anything else for checkout, if she had to sign anything, I could email it to her as they had already left. Later, she asked me for the property manager's number, so minutes later, I sent it to her. Days later, I found out that there is a lot of controversy because of the news and the video of the main guest hitting her friend Shanquella, the guest who died. When I saw the video in social media, I realized that practically the main guest manipulated me with the information she provided of what happened to leave the country as soon as possible. It should be noted that she put the name of, and she gives another name as the last person on the guest list or registry. So that was one of the interviews. These people are something else. I can't. Sorry, y'all. I was getting too mad. I kicked myself out the studio. Okay. Let me look at some of the they could care less at what they did to her. Exactly. Yes, we are. This is crazy. Oh my goodness. Just evil. I agree. The devil has a lot of imps roaming the earth. They had lied to the mother with no qualms. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, how do you just, so you guys were sitting, chilling, eating, trying to figure out, well, what we gonna tell the mama? Oh, this is what we're gonna tell her. And then you really call like you care. They probably had a little sniffles. They were probably really acting like they cared. This is my imagination here. And because you guys delivered her luggage home to her mom and gave condolences and everything. What type of people are you? This is ridiculous. Yes, laughter. Tion says they are wicked. 3 of them went to Shanquella's mother house and kept the lie going. Yep. Oh gosh. So I'm just going to I'm not gonna go over the autopsy, but I have that as well. And I did want you guys to just see one thing what the autopsy report revealed. Just a few snippets because we're not gonna just put our business out there. But yeah, Ben Crump is trying to get the United States to do something because obviously they need some type of pressure, maybe they need public pressure so they can do, because the incident just happened in Mexico with those 4 individuals that were kidnapped. It was a quicker response, it appears. So I don't know what is going on with this Shanquella situation, but again, as we get information, we'll stay on it. Like I told you in the last video, they sat around discussing what they were going to wear to the funeral. Shit. So how was the group savvy enough to get away from the villa and out of the country, unable to speak the language? Well, they went and made it seem like they wanted to get something to eat. And then they told the driver, why don't you just go to the right? That's okay. We're not hungry anymore. Just take us to the hotel airport. So now we can go try to change our tickets, even though we were supposed to be there for what, 3-4 days. We're going to change our tickets and we're going to bail and nobody even knows. I doubt they even went to the restaurant. I think they probably got the transportation, said that's where they're going because they knew that the investigation was taking place, and they got up out of Dodge. That's what I believe. So you said, what can the United States do? I talked about that in the beginning in the letter. The United States can do an extradition hearing because you do have right to due process and can extradite them over to the United States. And see, the reason why, if you go back, you guys catch the rewind it if you came on late. Um, a lot of times, so we don't have femicide here. So what Ben Crump and sister council were doing were they were letting them know, yeah, we may not have it, because my understanding is when it involves females, they just name it femicide over there. I'm not familiar with Mexican law at all, but that's what my understanding is. So to have something comparable to it, Ben Crump was basically let them know this is what's comparable here in the United States, so you have the ability to charge them as well. So the way the U.S. goes hard for those in other countries, they better do right by Shanquella. That's right. I agree. So let's go over one more thing and then we out of here, y'all, till the next time I come back. Because I have to do this radio show today. Let's see. So what I thought was interesting was when I was looking at the description of external injuries, and this is a part of like the autopsy report. It has direct contusions in the frontal region and the median part of 8 by 4 centimeters with hematoma, direct contusions in the left iliac crest with the hematoma 7 by 3 centimeters. The injury happened more than 12 hours before the contusion in the right iliac crest with a hematoma of 4 by 8 centimeters. The injury happened more than 12 hours before death. Contusion in the left hand anatomic snuff box with 2 centimeters with hematoma. And the left big toe, a 1 centimeter skin excoriation. Anterior thorax, it shows the signs that the defibrillator, so there were burns. The right eyeball has internal hemorrhagic, I know I'm pronouncing it wrong, zone of 0.5 centimeters. And so those were the external injuries. So this was before they even like looked at anything. You can just see those by the naked eye. So ultimately they say the type of manner of death was violent. I just was like, this is absolutely crazy to me. So yeah. So anyway, to all of you guys that were wondering what was going on with the Shanquella Robinson case, excuse me. We have discussed the letter that Ben Crump has just on the 13th, which was 2 days ago, has submitted to President Joe Biden and also the Secretary of State and requesting the help in getting justice. And there was a press conference 2 weeks ago that you guys can see on YouTube, which the family is there just crying out for any assistance from the public. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the live and I hope this was helpful and informative for you. Thank you so much. Yes, it is very, very sad. Thank you so much for the cash apps. I see you. I appreciate you. Yolanda Williams, Beverly Saddles, and LaVersa. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And okay, I just got here. Glad that Ben Crump is advocating. Yes, he is. But all right. Thank you guys so much. You guys enjoy your Wednesday. Everybody, today is Wednesday, right? Yeah. You guys enjoy these days are blending together. You guys enjoy your Wednesday, and I'm sure I'll be back to kick it with you guys later on because I have, a whole lot of other stuff to talk about. But I just wanted to make sure that even though my day has been really busy, it's been busy since last week and a lot of traveling. We just got back from New York, but I wanted to make sure that this case with Robinson does not get lost, and we are going to continue to follow it. And So if you guys get more information, make sure that you email it to me and we will stay on it. But until then, thank you guys for watching. I love each and every one of you guys.